Hey, buddy. I feel like as of late, my videos haven't been nearly comfortable enough, so we're gonna start this video in my bed. Security is a weird and interesting topic, especially in my family. Security is actually in my DNA. At tons of colleges and post offices all over the United States, the country I live in, there are these brass mailboxes. You've probably never thought about them because they were just kind of always there. At my college, there was a huge amount of them. They were donated by my family, but there was a lot of them. And I found out at other colleges, they were there too. At my local post office, they have them there. So what's cool about this company is it was called the Keyless Lock Company. And it was one of the first lock boxes to ever be invented that didn't require a key. It just has a little twisty on the front and you can create a combination lock from there. As I did research on this company and learned about their founding and learned about my lineage, it got me fascinated in my personal security. Luckily, I don't have a personal security issue. I never have. But it doesn't make me not paranoid about it. You know, once a year we get the Mark Rober video. All the time on Reddit, there's like another video about another package theft or another break-in. And I wanted to tackle this problem head on for myself. Whether this is to give my wife more of a peace of mind or just to give myself a tiny little tech project to work on, I'm not quite sure yet. But I'm gonna take this episode to dive into security, my personal security, my house security, and take you along with me because I think I'm gonna come up with a creative solution to a usually expensive problem.
Oh, I just got my first paper cut in years. That's what that feels like?
New uniform training. Cleveland, Ohio, 2021. As of June 2nd, 2021, a new uniform policy has been created. The uniform is not mandatory, but per the request of the owner, all employees may not be photographed unless they are in uniform. The uniform consists of a work shirt with a name tag. Sleeves may be worn however you please. Shirt must be untucked and unbuttoned. A red beanie will be worn to homage those who have worn red beanies before us. Jacques Cousteau, Steve Zissou, Kent Hackle. This concludes new uniform training. Thank you. Where was I? Oh my God, I was totally making a video and then I got sidetracked with the uniform and sorry about that. I spend a lot of time in my notebook. It's like a form of daydreaming, but I kind of capture those ideas, so I suppose this is my dream catcher. But if you're any sort of artist or thinker, you have to start writing things down because every little idea you have is a seed, and when you write it down, you plant it so that idea can grow. And when that idea grows, that's when you get magical things. So this idea came about when I thought, what if everything in my office was vintage? What would that look like? I don't necessarily want it, but like old school, new school, like very techie, but all in old school bodies. What would that look like? The door to my office would obviously be a Tron machine that when you beat the game, it opens. My desk is a pinball table flattened out. I've got 2 giant TVs. I don't know how that would functionally work, but let's go on with it. Some brown cabinet speakers off to the side, stay with me. And then just above my monitors, I would have a vintage film camera with a webcam on the inside of it, and then that would be my webcam. So what does this have to do with security? Well, when I was thinking about what could I do to make some fun security system for my home, this idea rung a bell, and oh my God, what if I put a security camera inside a vintage camera? So that's what I'm gonna do. I think I have most of the things I'm gonna need to build this, but I need to go get a vintage camera. Let's go do that at my favorite store in all of Cleveland, Ohio. Come on. You know, I realized I totally forgot to tell you guys about my giant piece of wood. I'll explain this in a little bit, but we're gonna do something really fun with this. We are back at the greatest store in all of Cleveland. I want something that's immediately recognizable as a vintage camera. You look at it and you're like, that's what that is, but also has space to put tech on the inside. What? Don't tell Jamie, I'm calling it audible. This one, because it looks really good, and this one, like the lens is already busted, which would be a perfect spot to mount a security lens. Hey everybody, if you're enjoying this content, please click the subscribe button. It helps out a ton. I post every Wednesday. I'd love to have you next week. So how do you build a security camera from scratch? Well, it's simple, yet not so simple. Let me take you through what you're gonna need. The Raspberry Pi camera version 2.1. It shoots 1080p video, which is plenty, and is basically plug and play. For the brain, we're gonna be using the Raspberry Pi Zero W. W standing for wireless. This thing is so unbelievably small that it'll fit perfectly in the camera. For the body of the camera, I found the Argus 75, first released in 1949. Mine has an engraving on the inside saying it was made in 1955. I'm not sure how yet, but we're gonna pop one of these lenses out and put the camera up behind it. So as I began to pull this thing apart, I developed a major appreciation for film cameras. To all the film camera people out there, I absolutely owe you one. I need to learn how to use a film camera and go through that entire process, but I can't do that in this video, so stay tuned for the next one. That being said, I've never really taken apart anything from the 1950s, so it was just awesome. The way things screwed together, the way things popped together, you could just feel that this was a different time of craftsmanship, and I loved it. So what I figured out is I was actually able to take out the photo mechanism. Let me get it. And this was exciting because it means, well, the camera isn't exactly ruined. I have all the pieces right here. Look at it, still take a photo. Oh my gosh. But once I pulled this out, it almost fell together too perfectly. I lined up the Raspberry Pi camera and it would so perfectly just hot glue into place. Plenty of room for the ribbon cable to just kind of shove it in there. And the actual Pi camera just fit perfectly. My next problem was figuring out how I was gonna run a power cable out of the camera. And what's so unbelievably cool about this Raspberry Pi being wireless is once you install the operating system that you're gonna run, we'll get to it in a second, you don't need to do anything on the actual Raspberry Pi itself. Everything else I can just do on my computer. So only one cable needs to be run into the camera, and that's power. I was thinking I was gonna have to drill a hole somewhere on the camera, but I found this little red circle on the back, which I think was for viewing how much film you had left. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm not gonna need that, so I just cut it out. And the cable fit perfectly. So all this is gonna fit and it's gonna mount perfectly. I still need to figure out the software side of this because as things go, not everything went according to plan, as always. Sorry about chewing, sorry about chewing, sorry about chewing, sorry about chewing. Okay, so the software for this thing became a little bit harder than I anticipated. I was mostly dealing with hardware failures. Look at this. I, rest in peace, ripped apart my beautiful, sweet, stereoscopic camera. If you haven't seen that video, it's up in the iCard. You gotta check it out. But I tried using all 4 of these cameras and none of them would work. Turns out I needed a whole new cable. So once I got that figured out, it worked perfect. Oh, it's a mini HDMI, not micro HDMI. What a goose I am. If you're thinking about doing this for yourself, it's really simple. You just need to flash the Motion Eye firmware onto an SD card, plug it into the Raspberry Pi, plug that Raspberry Pi in, and it will literally work. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's not true. There's one setting. You gotta do the WPA config. Put in your Wi-Fi and password. Obviously, you knew that.
Hell yeah, dude!
Do you see me?
Yeah, I see your butt.
But that was really straightforward. So now all I gotta do is come up with some sort of mount to actually mount it on the ceiling, get it mounted, and we should be good to go. I'm so stoked. Getting the mount set up was actually pretty straightforward. GoPro created this like 3 to 2 prong system. Well, I don't actually know if they created it, but they use it. And it's brilliant for everything else. GoPro's gonna charge you out the ass for all these pieces, and that's why I never shoot on GoPro. I also might have broken my only GoPro. That being said, I just 3D printed a couple of arms. I was able to take the 3-prong and the 2-prong, put them together, put a screw through it, nut on the other end, ding, 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 tight. So good. And then I just printed one that had 2 holes in it to go on the ceiling, and then one more, which I needed to figure out how to mount on top of the camera. And again, I didn't want to just slap it on top because I thought that would be ugly. And also, the top of the camera kind of folds open, but then it literally fit perfect. But wait. So once I got that all screwed together, screwed it up on the ceiling. It's okay, just go in there. 3D printed some cable mounts to just So the cables are managed, so my wife will let me leave this up in our front room. That was really her only stipulation, is if it looks ugly, gone. I actually can't believe this worked. I had so much fun working on this project, and it kind of is inspiring me to look around and think, okay, these weird ideas that I just put down in my notebook can grow into something real. I would say for now, we have success. As you can not so clearly see because I blurted out because I don't want you to stalk me, check out this successful delivery. Oh, and a prevented robber? Oh my gosh, they were so scared away by my camera. Crazy how well that worked. So if you want to do this for yourself, it's pretty cheap. I don't think I spent more than $50. It's all password protected. It only runs locally on your Wi-Fi network. There's a ton of settings like sensitivity. You can automatically send the videos straight to a Google Drive folder, which look, it separates them all by date. And if you look, there's me doing a little dance. It's not a great dance, but it's a dance. Sorry, I had to blur it out a little bit. I don't really want you to come over to my house unless you're coming for dinner. If you are wanting to come over for dinner, I don't have any friends, so I would like that. Okay, but that's really all for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I did a talking head video last week, and I'd never done something like that, and you guys received it really well. So I might do some more just like talking videos where I maybe more openly talk about my projects as opposed to this video, which was kind of a highly edited thingamajig. But I loved the format of this. So let me know down in the comments what you thought. Leave me a like if you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Finish that heart, follow your dreams, and I will see you in a video next Wednesday. Coming to my live stream tonight, Wednesdays.
It's